And we're live! Hey everybody, it's Jess here. So excited! I'm so excited and I'm so nervous. This is so fun. This is gonna be amazing. We're gonna talk about some really deep and important stuff tonight. And I'm really honored to have you here with me. So before we get started, we're gonna do a dance break. So I'm gonna play some music and I want you to stand up and dance along with me. This is our warm up before we start talking. Dance first, talk later. That's a good theory. Okay, I'm playing music. Here we go.
Sleepless nights at the chateau, visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Coach, wherever we go, visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Get a wild fire burning, visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Ace high and going all in, visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money. Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money. Money, 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 money.
Dance break before we start talking.
Spread it like Coach, wherever we go, visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Get a wild fire burning, visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Ace high and going all in, visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Spread it like peanut butter jelly. Do it like I owe you some money. Spread it like peanut butter jelly.
Now.
Do it like I owe you some money. Money, 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 money. Spread it like visualize it. I'll give it something to do. Visualize it. I'll give it something to do.
Woo! Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause. All right. Woo! How you feeling? Good? Okay. So let my breathing calm down for a moment. I want to draw your attention to the Q&A box, everyone. There's a Q&A box. You should see it. There's like a grid on the top where you're looking. It should say Q&A. You can test it out right now, even if you don't have a question. Just say hello. Let me know you're here. As we go through the Dance-N-R, what you can do is you can post your questions there. At the end, we're gonna have dedicated time where I'm gonna be addressing questions and things, so I might not see them until the end, but if you post them, they will be there, and I will do my best to address as many as possible. So don't forget that. I wanna make this really interactive, And yeah, I want to have fun. Do you? Yeah? Okay. All right, here we go. So I am going to pull up, I have some dance slides for you as well to help us really work through this topic tonight. So give me a moment to open this up and we will get started. All right, so here we are. You are here as the Dance in Our states to learn about 3 keys to dancing freely at any body size or shape. And my intention for this experience is that I want you to dance away from this class feeling embodied and inspired to create and express yourself more fully. So let me say that again. Juicily, lovingly embodied in your body that you have right now, and inspired to create and express yourself more fully in the world. So I want you to take a moment and think about what your intention is. Okay, so close your eyes. And just take a moment to breathe. Check in with your body. You just moved a little bit if you were dancing along at the dance break. And think about what your relationship to your body is and what your relationship to dance is. What's a struggle that you want to break through or a problem that you want to solve in one or both of those areas? And how do you want to feel when you leave this session? So something you want to break through, and how do you want to feel? You can jot that down if you want, or just hold it in your heart as we move through the rest of the class. You can open your eyes. And I also want to say that I just invite you to view the class today through the lens of your own experience with your body, and have compassion for others and theirs. Because especially when we're talking about bodies and dance, it can be really easy to go into comparison mode, to feel like everyone else has it easier or has it better, right? And we can just start to feel down on ourselves, and then we get back into that negative spiral, and it's not fun. So the bottom line is this: you have one body in this lifetime. Are you gonna love it and find a way to dance with it, or are you not? I hope that you will. And if you're here, you probably will. So before we get to the 3 keys, I just wanted to share a brief personal story so that you know a little bit more about where I'm coming from and how I even came up with the 3 keys that I'm going to share. And maybe there's also elements of my story that you can relate to. And I know that in itself can sometimes be helpful. So the photo that you see on the left, that is me at 9 years old. And I was filled with a lot of passion and excitement for dancing. And I was really happy to just jump around in a unicorn costume. I'm sure you can relate and have old dancing pictures of yourself, right, when you were that little. And then we fast forward to the photo on the right. That's me at 15 years old in the midst of my serious ballet training, when I was not connected to my expression or creativity as a dancer. But I was actually obsessed with getting the technique perfect and getting everything right. And that was around the time when I also started to get really critical of my body. I remember a ballet teacher back then who was a man. He would walk around and poke at our bellies and tell us to tuck them in. And as a joke, he would say, you know, tuck in that kangaroo pouch, or he would call us the Pillsbury Dough girls. We actually had to wear white leotards. Yes, torture for an adolescent girl. And so these quote unquote jokes were actually really scarring for young developing girls, and certainly impacted my experience of my body back then and as I grew up. I found myself always looking sideways in the mirror to make sure my stomach was flat. If I had a day where I was bloated, it would like ruin my whole mood. And all of that combined, it got me into some disordered eating patterns, restricting and binging. But you know, it never got totally out of control with that kind of thing. I was able to, you know, kind of keep it at a level where I was thinking I was in control of what I was eating and how that was going, but it was what it was. And so after I was like really serious throughout high school about ballet, and I took a year after high school before I went to college to just focus on ballet. And when I had to make the decision of whether or not I was going to continue on that professional ballet track or choose another path, my teacher at the time, actually the same man who had the belly jokes, he told me that realistically, I probably wouldn't get into a major ballet company because my feet weren't arched enough. And I recognized that my boobs were a little bit too large and my thighs were more muscular than most for that typical ballet standard. And I didn't really know about other dance worlds at the time. So for me, it was like, well, if I'm not going to get into ABT, then why even bother? So I'm just going to stop. And it also felt selfish to me. I knew that I wanted to help people. And at the time I was like, well, me torturing myself in the studio trying to be perfect at dancing isn't going to help anyone, right? So let me move on. And I went to regular college and I studied psychology. There we go. So in that new phase of college, I thought that if I wasn't dancing, I wouldn't care anymore about how my body looked, right? I was like, oh, well, dance is no longer my artistic instrument. So whatever, I'll just eat whatever I want and it won't matter anymore. And actually it got worse. Those negative voices in my head were even stronger because I felt more critical of myself. There was a lot less physical activity in my life at the time. And my body was changing once again. It was like another puberty. It was filling out in different places. And I started to feel really uncomfortable. So fast forward in my mid-20s, I'm not going to give you every detail, but I became a full-time holistic health coach. And I was happy because I had finally found a profession where I could help other people in a meaningful way. But there was a part of me that wasn't truly satisfied. And it's because I still wasn't dancing. And in particular, I wasn't connected to the creative, expressive impulses that I had in me. So there was this void going on. And here's the thing, when it comes to dance, right? So at the time, my body shape was completely different than it was before in my heavy dancing days. I was out of practice too with dancing, so I knew my technique wouldn't be what it was before. And the idea of stepping into like a ballet class or a jazz class felt like torture. I didn't want to look in the big mirror. I didn't want to compare myself to all the young, chipper dancers, you know, and mostly, especially in New York City where I was, those kind of dance schools can be a really competitive environment, not very welcoming. So I started to explore other things. And I tried African dance. I did some yoga. Like African dance was amazing for me. It really helped me connect to my body and accept my body in a new way. And I was experimenting on my own as well because there was still something missing. Even though I would drop into these classes and it felt great to be doing it, for me, the piece missing was that self-expression. So as you could see, there's a couple of these pictures here where I'm like, I'm next to this guy playing the cello in the park. I started doing Swan Lake when he was playing, or like I was visiting my aunt in Vermont and I was like, let me do an arabesque pose. I was like, you know, finding these little ways to just bring dance back into my life in a way that felt good to me. And as I was on this journey and this exploration, I discovered a bunch of things. Especially through making dance videos, which I'll tell you more about later, and finding my voice both as an artist and a dancer. And those are the pieces that really influenced me and shifted my whole relationship to my body. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. Because for me, so my whole life shifted as a result. I started teaching, I started performing, I started choreographing, I did my own show. I was invited to do a TEDx talk about dance. And I started creating classes and programs that would welcome other dancers who were in a similar place that I was, that they wanted to dance, but they just didn't have the right place to do it. They didn't want to go back into like the traditional environment, right? They wanted to find their own thing. But all of this became possible because I took the first step. I danced in my apartment, and then I danced in the park one day. And then I decided to make a video, and then I did another one. And I did all of those things, even though I felt too old, I felt too out of shape, I felt too silly to do it. All of those excuses came up in my mind very often, but I did it anyway. And how I was able to do it anyway, again, we're gonna get to, that's what I'm gonna share with you tonight. So let's get to these 3 keys, all right? And I'll warn you that my favorite is the 3rd key. I saved the best for last. And I'll also be sharing a really special opportunity with you at the end of the call before we do our Q&A. So I hope that you stay on, you know, turn off your phone, don't get distracted, really focus in, and yeah, this is for you as a dancer. Here we go. All right. So the first key that I want to share is move towards self-care. Now, what I mean is this. Instead of trying to control your body, start trying to understand it and take care of it. Especially if you were part of a more traditional dance world for a time, there might be a part of you that engages in, let's call it self-flagellation or self-criticism, right? An overall disconnect with your mind and your body, where you're watching your body, you're policing it, you're making sure that it's in control. And if you're doing that and you're resenting your body because it's not fit enough or flexible enough or whatever enough, you're gonna keep perpetuating the cycle of beating yourself up, and then you're gonna deny yourself any opportunities to actually put yourself out there and dance and have fun. So can you instead think of your body as if you were in a relationship with it, right? If you had a partner who is cranky all the time, would you tell him or her to just shut up and cheer up and, you know, push them down the stairs, like, get out of here, go? No. Or would you ask them, why are you cranky? Can I help you work through something, right? Like, you wanna help someone who is in your life. Your body is, you have a relationship with your body. Start thinking of it that way, right? How can you help it? The next piece here is, are your basic needs being met of your body? And a couple of examples are sleep, food, and love, right? What is your body craving? Are you denying it of things, right? If you're stressed out and running around like a crazy person and you're skipping meals or eating junk or just dragging your body around, of course it's not going to feel good. It's not going to respond well, and you're probably not going to be inclined to go dancing. So a foundation of health is really important. And I'm very grateful that I spent all that time studying holistic health and working in that field for a long time. And if you're not familiar with that, if you're kind of far into nutrition or, you know, like how to meet those basic needs, I really recommend getting support in that area. The other piece too, though, on the, like, to flip it, is that you can think of dancing as an essential part of your health and happiness too. So I don't know, to me, dance is actually one of the basic needs. We can add it in there as a basic need. Dance should be in there. It's something that is important. And the more that you dance, the more happy and the more free that you can feel. So that's the first piece. The second key is love what you wear. So what I mean by this is, the good news about being a free-thinking adult is that you can decide what you want to wear when you dance. You don't have to wear a white leotard like they made me wear when I was a teenager. You don't have to force yourself into clothes that don't feel good. This is kind of obvious, but I wanted to mention it because I think it's an important thing that can be overlooked. So find clothes that feel good on your body. Get rid of stuff that doesn't, you know, like those pants that cut your stomach off in a weird way. Why are you still wearing them? Get rid of them. You don't need them. I hate pants like that. I had a pair of leggings that was like doing that. Like, I really liked the color of the leggings and the style, but it was just, when I would wear them, it would like cut into my stomach and it was really uncomfortable. So I cut a slit in the elastic and it helped. It like opened up the top part more so it wasn't cutting into my stomach, and I was actually able to wear them. It was great, right? So you can play around with things like that. You can also try, you know, clothing swaps, get together with a group of friends, try on different clothes, get rid of the things that you don't want. It's a nice way to do it. Also look for clothing companies that have a body positive mission, something that is gonna represent you well and feel good on your body, and you'll feel good that you're supporting a company that is doing that. And I actually have a new company that I'm totally in love with. It's called Vive Life, and you can check them out. And there's even a discount code, Jess20, you can use if any of their clothes do inspire you. I love the brand. I'm a proud supporter of it. And I think it's a really positive, body positive kind of a company. So one idea for you. The other piece here is not just love what you wear, but love where you wear it. So don't go to the dance classes or the places that feel snobby or cliquey. You know, find the communities that are going to inspire you and encourage you to be yourself and feel good in your body. I was at this dance party on Saturday called Morning Gloryville, which I think they host in many cities. This was in Brooklyn, but it was awesome. There were so many people dressed up in all kinds of crazy things and all kinds of body shapes and sizes, and it was really freeing to just be there and be able to dance. And I wore my tutu that day. I just, you know, I was just going for it, and it felt really great. It wasn't a judgmental environment. It wasn't a place where people were, you know, competing or, you know, trying to look each other up and down. It was a very loving, supportive environment. And, you know, check yourself on that too. Like when you step into new environments, we can all be guilty of this, of being the one who's like, oh, well, what is she wearing? Or da, 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 right? And if that happens to you, it's okay. Like it can happen. Just try to tap back into, again, not going into comparison mode, but being more in yourself and feeling good with who you are and what you're wearing. The other thing about where you're wearing the clothes or where you're dancing, and this is another kind of obvious one, but the lighting and the atmosphere in which you're dancing can really make a big difference. And I remember when I was playing around with making a lot of dance videos, I would do things with lighting, you know, especially if I was having a day where like I felt uncomfortable in my body, or, you know, it's amazing. Like I would feel beautiful because it was this, I don't know, I found an artistic way to do the lighting and to allow myself to dance and feel good about it, rather than looking at myself in fluorescent light bulbs, you know, in one of those like dressing room mirrors and being like, what is going on, you know? So be conscious of that. Be loving towards yourself and the environments that you put yourself in. So, all right. This brings me to, and by the way, if any questions come up at all, don't forget that you can post them and we'll answer them later. All right, we're getting to number 3, which is my favorite and most important key. I actually almost canceled the other 2 and was like, let's just talk about number 3, but I wanted to include the other 2 because they're important too. So number 3 is create something to share. And here's the main point. When you think of your body as a vessel from which you can create and share things with the world, it creates a shift in how you relate to your body. Why? Because you are not an object on display when you dance. You are a moving, expressive creature. You're channeling life through your body. It is such a beautiful thing, okay? You're not an object. You are the subject. You're the author of the dance story you're telling. You're a channel for creative energy. So imagine if you stopped obsessing about how you looked and you just started thinking about what you wanted to create. For me, this was a huge shift in perspective. I realized that I didn't have to fit into a mold anymore. Whoa, it was like a brand new concept, right? It was okay if my feet weren't perfect or my boobs were too big or if my stomach was sticking out. It didn't matter because I didn't have to fit into a certain model of dance. I could create my own. And for me, making dance videos was a huge catalyst in getting more and more into this mode. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples. This was one of the first dance videos that I made and shared. As you can see, it's not very great quality, pretty basic. It's me dancing alone in my apartment. That was at a time when I was living alone and feeling kind of lonely, actually. And making a dance video was a great way to just find connection. And it was really fun. I took it to the park another time in the rain. I was actually just going for a run, and it started raining, and like everyone cleared out of the park, and I started dancing, and it was great. And so the more that I made videos and focused on the fun and the creativity of it, and the way that I actually could connect with people too, like even if I was alone in my apartment, making a video and putting it on YouTube or something, even if I didn't know who was watching or if barely anyone was watching, it felt like I was saying something to the world. I was like, I exist. I'm not just here alone in my room. I'm creating something, right? This is me. And so over the years, so these videos are probably from, I'd say 2010, 2009 or 2010. And over the years, like I think because I wasn't focused on how my body looked, it actually did change shape. And actually my technique improved too, because I was just dancing more. And here's a video of a more recent one. And you might notice a difference even just in the quality of the video or like the way I edited it. So we'll pause there. So yeah, so there's, you know, a different quality to it, right? Like I would say like my videos have, they've definitely morphed over the years. But if I hadn't started with what I did in the beginning with making that video alone in my apartment, I wouldn't be dancing and doing the things that I'm doing now. I just wouldn't, because I had to take the first step and I had to make many, 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 many videos that no one watched or that 2 people watched before more people started to actually see what I was doing, right? So let's turn it back to you. What will you create with your dancing? I wanted to give you a couple of examples of things, of places you could start with, right? So number 1, you could tell a story. Maybe it's something from your past, or maybe you want to make up a story and tell it through dance, right? Do a goofy interpretive dance. Or maybe it's a more serious toned thing that you're telling, that you're, you know, interpretive dance. It could be serious, it could be funny, it could be either. It's great. You could also capture a moment, right? The dancing in the rain video that I showed you is an example of that. Like being in the moment and being like, oh my God, we got to get this on video right now. Let's do it, right? Let's create a video. Let's make dance where we are right now. You could express an emotion. How are you feeling? Dance it out, right? Especially if you find yourself alone in your apartment or in your home, and you know, not that you have to post it anywhere or make a video. Sometimes just the dancing it out and being in your body can really help and can really move things through you. You can use dance to work through love or loss, right? The tough stuff in life. And that's a process I work with people on in other kinds of programs and things. But just to say a little bit there, you know, dancing and any kind of creative expression can be so therapeutic. And again, it's channeling things through you, not keeping things stuck inside of you, in your body. Finally, let your body speak. I was having this wonderful chat with a dance student of mine the other night, and she was talking about how the experience of giving birth and also of being a midwife and watching so many births has influenced her so much in the way that she views her own body as a woman and other women's bodies. And how now as a dancer, you know, now that she's wanting to dance again and do more of that, she has a totally different relationship to her body. And there's things that need to be said through her dancing. She was like, I don't even know exactly what it is. Like, I don't have words to describe it, but I know there's something in me and I know that needs to come out. And so for you, whether it's a pregnancy or other kinds of changes that you've gone through, or just, you know, trying to make peace with your body, right? You can do that through dance. I had started creating a piece years ago too, that was like me with like an empty ice cream container. And it was this whole thing. I never actually ended up performing it anywhere, but it was really fun for me. And it really helped me work through a lot of my, like, again, being lonely and wanting to just eat a tub of ice cream every night. It's like, oh, well, what if even if I ate the ice cream first, why don't I make a dance with it, right? Why don't I do something with it and work through this thing that I'm struggling with, right? That my body's struggling with. Like, what is it that it needs? It can be so, so powerful to do this. And so bottom line here, like what I really want to impart to you is that you can dance in your own way. And dance can be a part of your life in your own unique way. You don't have to follow a formula, right? You can use it as a creative, expressive outlet and get past all these hang-ups that might be holding you back or excuses. But I do realize that it can be easier said than done sometimes, right? You might get stuck in your head a lot. You might come up with a ton of excuses about why you shouldn't dance, right? Body criticism, that was the main topic of today, right? That's one of them. But if it's not that, maybe it's that you don't have the time or money to dance, right? There's other things that I need to be spending money on, or I just don't have time. There's no way I could possibly dance. Maybe you feel you're not good enough, so why bother, right? Yep, that's fine. I'm out of practice. Who cares? I'm never going to be good. I'll never actually dance professionally, so why even dance? Maybe it feels too selfish, right? Especially if you're a mom. I hear this a lot from moms who dance with me, that they had to really get over that hump of taking time for themselves to dance, right? Because they're always doing things for their kids or their families. And but even if you don't have kids, I know that selfish thing definitely came up for me a lot. Feeling like, well, who am I to just be spending time dancing around when there's people, you know, starving in other parts of the world? I should be, you know. But yeah, it's a big one. And I mean, I guess I don't have to say it again, but that moving from feeling too selfish to thinking of it as self-care and taking care of yourself through dancing, you'll be much happier and healthier, right? Be able to help people more. But I do know that that's a big one. The other thing is maybe you feel too silly, right? It's frivolous, it's silly, it's childlike, I'm too old for this, I can't dance. All of that equals not dancing, sad face, not fun. So this brings me to this. I said there was going to be a special opportunity for you, and that's what I want to share with you now. So there's actually a supportive community waiting for you. If you're feeling like you want to dance again and you want to get out of your own way and create. So I created a program that's going to help you fill in the gaps so that you can start dancing more and stop making excuses. And it provides you with what I find to be some of the key elements that are really hard to find on your own. And that's structure. Having a structure in place is so important, right? That's why when we were kids and mom would drive us to dance school and pick us up, it was just embedded. It was just structure in our life. We went because we had a way to get there, and we came home, right? And we did it. When you're older, you have to create structure for yourself, or else it won't be there and you just won't do it. The other piece is deadlines, right? Knowing that you're working towards something. You have a group of people, you're working together on a project, or you're working solo, but you have the support of others. The supportive community is another big factor that's really helpful, as well as personal guidance from someone who's been there. And so this program is called You Can Dance Again. And the current version right now is a 9-week online program. There is an in-person version in New York City. that starts this coming Sunday, and it's going to culminate with a group performance in October. There's only one spot left in that program, but if you're listening and you're in New York and you're really interested and curious about it, you can email me and we can talk about that live program. But today, for those of you watching, I imagine a lot of people are watching from all kinds of parts of the world. I wanted to focus on sharing more about this online experience and how you can join. So there's some of the other things we're going to cover in this program, aside from having weekly dance classes. So we're going to actually be dancing together via video, and via video where we can all see each other. It's amazing. It's this technology called Zoom, and we all see each other dancing. And so it's going to be very interactive. You're going to have an online dance class every week. And then starting with these topics, right? So every other week, we're going to have a topic call where first we're going to talk about connecting to what's inside of you, right? Like, what is that message that wants to be spoken? What's the thing? Why do you want to dance again, right? Why is it important to you? Getting really clear on that so that you start off strong and it's meaningful to you. You know, it's not just dancing to dance around for no reason. It's actually coming from a deep place. We're going to get even into more depth with getting past what stops you, right? So body image could be something like we spoke about. There were all those other things that we just talked about, the different kinds of excuses that come up that stop you from dancing. We're going to really bring those out into the light, and I'm going to give you more specific ways that you can work through them and not let them stop you from dancing. We're going to talk about discovering your unique dance voice. Your dance voice. This is a word that I came up with to describe that thing that it doesn't really have words, but it's how you express and what you want to express through your dancing, right? Your unique style combined with that message that's inside of you from all the years that you've been in this world, right? The experience that you've accumulated in your body. That translates into a dance voice, something that you have to say. And you're going to really hone in on what that is for you. And the fourth topic call is going to be moving from selfish to shining. So getting past those hangups of like, oh, it's too selfish to be a dancer. I'm not helping anyone. I'm not doing anything impactful, to really recognizing how important it is for you to express yourself and to get comfortable with being seen fully for who you are and to shine. And to know that you're shining, it's not gonna, right, to use the Marianne Williamson quote, it's not gonna dim other people's light. It's you shining is going to help bring other people's light out as well. So important. So youcandanceagain.com is where you can find these details. The other things I'll just quickly go through are what's included. So there's 8 video dance class sessions, like I said. There's 4 video support sessions on those 4 topics. You'll have an online community on Facebook. We'll all be connected. And there's a virtual showcase. So at the end of the series, you'll actually be invited to share a dance project. And I'll be guiding you throughout those 8 dance sessions as well to come up with something. And it doesn't have to be this like big thing that you plan and think about, right? It's going to be something that naturally emerges through the work that we're doing together. And maybe it'll be a little dance that you perform for us on video, or a video that you pre-record, or an idea for a flash mob that you choreograph and do in your local environment, right? It really could be anything. So I'm so excited about this program. We have people from all over who are joining, and I would love to welcome you into the community as well. Like I said, you can go to youcandanceagain.com and get the details. The investment for the 9-week program and everything that's included is $197. And in my opinion, it's worth so much more than that. I put so much time and thought and energy, and I continue to do so into this program because it's something that I believe in so much. And as I've been on my own dance journey and working with dancers in various kinds of workshops and live programs here in New York, I've just recognized these elements that are really important for us if we want to dance and keep dance alive. And that's why I created this. So I don't know of any other program that provides this kind of specific support for dancers who want to get back into it. If you know of something else, let me know. It'd be cool to meet them. But as far as I know, this is it. And the program starts on August 12th, which is a week from today. Registration is going to be open until Friday. So I might offer this again in the future. I probably will, but this is going to be the lowest rate that it will ever be offered at. I can say that with confidence. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just an excuse to do it, right? If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? You're going to keep making excuses. So if this is speaking to you, give yourself the gift of saying yes to dance, because deep down, you know that it's worth it, right? You know that you are worth it, and that everyone in your life is going to benefit when you're happier and healthier because you're dancing again. I really hope that you'll join me. So let's recap our 3 keys. They rhyme too, because I like rhyming. So moving towards self-care, loving what you wear, creating something to share. And if you haven't already been taking notes, I just encourage you to write these down. And under each one, just write down what's a small action you can take in that direction. What's one piece of self-care that you've been neglecting? How have you not been being nice to yourself? Or how can you up your level of self-care? How can you love yourself even more? Number 2, same thing. Are there any clothes you can just get rid of and stop trying to force yourself into? Is there something new you can get for yourself that will help you feel beautiful and loving with your body when you're dancing? Sometimes it's even just accessories or glitter, right? Putting things directly on your skin. That can feel so good and be so beautiful. And the third one, creating something to share. So what's the action you can take around creating? Do you want to experiment with making your own dance video? Do you want to just, I don't know, just dance around in your room and choreograph something? What is it that you want to express? So take your notes. And if you have any questions, type them in now if you didn't already. AJ said, yay for key 2. Awesome, yes. All right, Q&A time. All right, so who has questions? Type those questions into the Q&A box. If you want to be anonymous, I won't say your name. You can just put anonymous in parentheses somewhere in there. But I'd love to hear from you guys now. And if you don't have a question, you can just share what's resonating for you. What was something valuable that you took away from this class tonight? What's one action you're going to take? You know, sometimes sharing those actions can actually be really important. Saying them out loud so that it's not just in your head, you trying to figure it out, but then you'll forget about it, right? Because usually we do that if we don't have accountability. All right, so we have a question. What if I can't make all of the classes for this program? This is a question specific to the program. If you can't make the classes, no problem. They're all going to be recorded. And you'll have access to them like forever if you want. So you can always go back to them and rewatch them. And, you know, in those moments when you're like, I want to dance and I want to take a class, but I missed the class at my local studio. So you can just watch and dance along with the video. So there you go. Other questions? Going once, going twice. Okay, we have a quiet group tonight. I'm gonna take this, this thingy off here. Wait. Oh, I wanted to show you a little bit of choreography. This was from the last group of the You Can Dance Again people who are in New York. A little clip. Beautiful. Okay. I had to show that. That was one of my most favorite experiences, facilitating that You Can Dance Again group. And yeah, this is so great. I'm so happy that you're here with me tonight. It looks like not many people have questions. So if questions do come up, I encourage you to email me. My email address is jess@jessgrippo.com. I'll be emailing you a little bit later, especially if you're not here live. You'll get the link again if you want to rewatch anything. And really, like, I take your questions really to heart, really seriously. I read every email that you send me. So don't be shy. Don't hesitate. Reach out. Let's keep this dance conversation alive, and let's dance. Love your body. You're awesome. Thanks for being here tonight, everyone. I'll let you go off into your evening, and I hope to dance with you really, really soon. Bye.